into it and killed the engine. Right, that's the first task complete. Now to get a ticket. Her words trailed off as she scanned the car park for the ticket machine, eventually spotting the bright orange machine back over by the entrance. It seemed so far to have to carry Carol Ann in such horrible weather. There seemed no let-up in the rain, sweeping wildly across the car park. Deciding there was only really one option that would save time and keep Carol Ann dry, she swiveled round in her seat. "Do you think you could be super good for Mummy? I need to go and buy a ticket from that machine over there," she said, pointing to where she meant. "If I lock the doors, do you think you could sit here really quietly while I go and get it? You'll have to sit perfectly still so you don't trigger the alarm. Can you do that for Mummy?" Carol Ann blinked back, oblivious to what Alex had asked. "No, I can't do that," Alex answered for herself, biting her nail. "I'll just have to get you out and bring you with me. It was a stupid idea." Turning back, she checked the handbrake was on and ran through the checklist in her mind before snatching up her handbag from the front seat and reaching for the door handle. But as she prized the door open, a strong gust forced it closed again. "Oh, this is just crazy. Does the weather not realise I have a really important interview in 18 minutes? Her phone bleeped, and the display showed that Ray had sent her a good luck message. He knew how much this opportunity meant to her, and he was doing his best to be supportive, even if he didn't agree that her returning to work was the best thing for them at this point. Staring at Carol Ann's reflection in the mirror again, she reconsidered her options before biting the bullet. Removing her purse, she dropped the handbag on the passenger seat, forced her door open, and darted into the rain, remote locking the car as she sprinted through the puddles, cursing as the water splashed against her suit trousers. Was it too late to phone and let them know she was running late? Would they judge her as a poor timekeeper? She'd always been so punctual when she'd worked before giving birth. Ever since Carol Ann had arrived, she'd found getting anything done on time a struggle. It wasn't that she'd suddenly become disorganised overnight. There just always seemed to be some kind of hurdle she'd failed to envisage. Like Carol Ann soiling her nappy the moment they'd got in the car this afternoon, and the mad dash back into the house to change her. Blinking against the rain, she shielded her eyes as she stared back at her small grey hatchback, tempted to run back and check that none of the hideous outcomes her paranoid mind was picturing had befallen her daughter. And as if to heighten her paranoia, the car's alarm sounded in a flurry of orange light. Carol Ann would be terrified by the sudden cacophony. Splashing back a few steps, she killed the alarm with the remote. Scanning the full car park, she saw there wasn't a soul in sight, and with time against her, she hurried back to the machine, opening her purse and fishing for change. The rain continued to blind her as she struggled to read the sign and calculate how much she needed, finally dropping 3 one-pound coins into the slot and pressing the green button, forcing herself to look back at the car every few seconds. The orange machine finally whirred and spat out her parking ticket. Snatching it up, she charged back towards the car, relieved to get back in and take a moment to catch her breath. "It is such a minging day," she said, finally opening her eyes and wiping rain from her face. Looking up at the rearview mirror, the breath caught in her throat. Spinning around, she stared at the empty child seat, unwilling to believe her own eyes. It had to be some kind of joke. Where the hell was Carol Ann? Alex rubbed her eyes and then dug her freshly polished nails into her skin to wake herself from the sudden nightmare. The seat remained empty. Turning back to face the front, the ticket machine was barely visible through the rain-soaked windscreen. This couldn't be happening. Not again. Her heart raced as her mind desperately tried to connect the dots and determine why her daughter was no longer strapped into the chair. Pushing her door open, Alex stepped back out, no longer noticing the rain as it splashed against her suit and pressed blouse. Still, there was no sign of a single person in the car park. She scanned